Everyone always asks, how do I get rich? When the question should be, how do I sell? Selling is a superpower. It's verbal manipulation. It's persuasion. It's the ability to make something desirable by just saying certain words and employing different techniques that creates an urge within people to buy. Making money isn't a skill within itself, but selling is, which is why you shouldn't look at money, you should look at selling, because that enables you to make money. So please remove distractions, actually watch through this entire video, and I guarantee by the end of it, you'll be able to sell that pen just like that guy in The Wolf of Wall Street.
You can sell anything. Sell me this fucking pen right here. You can sell anything, sell that.
Go ahead.
Sell me that pen.
Can I finish eating first? I need tonight.
Do me a favor. Write your name down on that napkin for me.
I don't have a pen.
Exactly. Supply and demand, my friend.
You know what I'm saying? He's creating urgency.
You're gonna have to suck for a long time, tripping up on your words, watching various opportunities slip through your hands, but eventually, after failing miserably multiple times, you'll start to get kind of good at what you do. When I first started, it was terrifying, it was daunting, but now I see how it works. If you could sell, then people will rely on you. If you could get multiple people to rely on your ability to sell, then you could get rich, because that's what people need, that's what businesses need. Are people that can close deals. And that in and of itself can make you an entrepreneur, because you don't need to work for somebody and close deals for them. You could just close deals yourself because you are the actual asset, right? You're not relying on anybody. You are the one that needs to be relied on. You're the asset. Okay, so keys to selling. This is gonna be pretty much the aggregation of all of the best pieces of knowledge, inklings of knowledge that I've learned along my journey. Everything that I've picked up from not only being in various sales calls, doing so many cold calls. I can't even count anymore, but I've done so many at this point. I'm only 18 years old and I've just started within this year. Since I've been doing it every day and learning about it every day, I have some knowledge, at least more than none. I'm gonna tell you exactly how I got to where I am. First of all, I wanna mention that these are the 3 books that most of the contents of this video are based on. So 48 Laws of Power, $100 Million Offers, and .com Secrets. A lot of the knowledge that I've gotten has come from these 3 books because I just found these to be the most valuable. Before we jump into the meat and potatoes, I'm just gonna go over the basics a little bit. Now these things are all very entwined, they're super similar, and when you implement one, you pretty much implement all 3. These are really good, especially when you're making an advertisement for either your business or a different one. To employ scarcity, urgency, exclusivity is basically, it's the most fundamental persuasion techniques, I guess you could say, when it comes to getting someone to buy something. A great example would be to use like designer clothing brands that actually employ these techniques. They have it so that there's always a limited stock. They only send out a few of each item to each flagship store. If you have 100 people that want to buy this one item of clothing, right? Let's just say that. What if you only made 10 instead of 100? That means 90 people wouldn't be able to get it and only 10 would even have the opportunity to purchase it. With that said, you can now make the 10 items so much more expensive and you can make just as much money as you would if you sold the 100 items. And that's the power of leveraging scarcity, exclusivity, and urgency. So I have the book right here, but obviously Laws of Power. Now the first example I'm gonna go over is authority. Establishing authority is more difficult when you're just starting out because you're kind of an infant. What authority do you have? But you have to establish authority anyways. I want you guys to guess what the most powerful business model in the world is. Some of you might know. The answer is school. And I know it sounds crazy, but school, college, education system, that's the most powerful business model in the world. The reason why is because people will not question paying money to school. Your parents likely, when you went to school, they'll buy the textbooks, right? They'll buy your school supplies, they'll pay money at that stuff, and they won't even question it. That's the only business model and pretty much in the world that people won't even question spending money. You're just like, yeah, I have to. It's just part of, my kids going to school, I gotta do whatever. And so the idea is to become that teacher who sells that textbook to the kid, because nobody's gonna question it. Nobody's gonna impugn the fact that they have to get that book. They need it. It's part of the curriculum, even though I'm sure a lot of you relate, but the students probably don't even read any of the textbook or hardly any of it, but they still buy it because they make it necessary when you come into the class. And they're $100 textbooks and parents don't even ask a question. This is just something that's standard. Same with college. It's like no matter how expensive it gets, since people understand that it's like this necessitated thing that you need to go to college to be successful, people will put money into it. If you make yourself powerful just by saying that you need me, right? Or just by showing that you need me, then there's no way that they could not buy from you because they'll just feel like they have to, that it's just natural, that it's just something that they need to do in order to get X. Now, reliance. I talked about this in the video titled The Future of SMMA. It was a few videos back. And I wanted to use an example of like software, right? So people rely on softwares. People rely on softwares to run their businesses. For example, like most businesses have customer relationship management software, CRMs, that they rely on to actually like re-incentivize people and to contact people. They rely on these softwares because it makes their life so much easier. Become the software. If you become the software, you become the asset. Now you could create the software and that's just as valuable, but if you become the software, which is the best way of doing that, is being someone who brings in money, the rainmaker, just by having the ability to sell. Become the software. They have to need you and you don't need to have them. The next thing is reputation. Now reputation is something that was mentioned in this book a lot. Power, reputation, they go hand in hand. If you uphold reputation, you could also establish superiority. If you have a good reputation, you now have this idea of like, I don't need you, you need me, like mentioned in the last one. Reputation comes from mostly testimonials, doing good for other people, but at the same time, you need to sell with conviction. If you have conviction from the start, right when you're beginning, then I guarantee you're gonna have a way easier time closing people than if you don't have any conviction. Even if you don't think you deserve to have conviction and be like earnest, still act like you do, be super confident in what you're selling. And I'll tell you in the next 2 pages how you could actually be confident in what you're selling and not be lying to yourself, because the truth is you won't be. You'll still be confident and you'll deserve to be confident. Speak as though you have a great reputation even if you don't have it yet. And then eventually your reputation will build to be great. It's because you're establishing that. You're just asserting yourself. You're imposing yourself. Target congregations. Now congregations means like a specific group of people that share a common interest. It's a good word. And basically if you solve your own problem, then you have the solution to other people's problems. This is one of the most powerful things in the world. If you solve your own problem, then you could use that exact same solution and sell it to people that were in your position. You're gonna solve your own problem like genuinely. You're gonna wanna solve your own problem. Your own problem, you'll treat it seriously, more seriously than anything else. Once you've done that, you now have the solution to your own problem, and you could find people with the exact same problem and sell the exact same solution. That's how you make money. That's the essence of money. And it's the easiest thing to sell. Why? Because it's your solution. Know your target audience like the back of your hand. How do you do this? Similar to what I said in the last one, by being a part of the target audience. It's super easy to know your target audience because all you have to do is just know yourself. If you could sell to yourself, then you could sell to others. Groups. Now the next thing is target congregations, as I said before. Sell to massive groups of people that could relate to each other, and sell to specific types of communities, like not individuals. Don't sell to a specific human, just one singular human. Sell to groups of individuals that share similar problems, as I said before. So bunches of people that have similar problems, because it's never an individual thing. And if you make it way, way, way too niche, then you just become a coach that helps somebody one-on-one. What you want to do is you want to solve a problem and help just a little group of people. It doesn't even have to be massive. When you think about agencies, there are agencies with 10 clients that make over $100,000 a month just because they're solving one specific problem for only 10 people. All right, now create an irresistible offer. The first thing is guarantee value. Essentially, by solving your own problem, you could guarantee to solve theirs, right? Because if you solved your own problem, again, like I said, you're gonna do that utterly. So you could easily do that for somebody else and guarantee that they'll have the solution. And by guaranteeing a solution, by guaranteeing a result, you have to get good at what you do. So if you suck at what you do now, then just think, okay, well, why don't I just offer a guarantee so that they don't lose money, I don't lose money, I just have to work really, really hard and make sure that I deliver. But if I don't, I get punished and I don't get anything, I don't earn anything. So that means you have to perform. You're forcing yourself to perform, which means that you have to get good at what you do. It's a great way of going about business. The next thing is incentivizing. So people are persuaded very easily. And this is what I've realized through time. Like there's little things that you could do that make them work with you, like the things that are mentioned here. Give them a reason to purchase by just tapping into human urges. These are like little urges and inclinations that people have that just push them over the edge. For example, like even just the idea of a testimonial. If you've done really good for one business, or if you've worked with one business and they like you, and you show a different business that they're succeeding, they now have FOMO. They now have fear of missing out. And they're like, shoot, if they can do it for them, then why can't they do it for us? If they're winning, I need to win too. And there's just competition, and then it creates this urgency to purchase. And there's all these different things that you could do that make people just go, yeah, you know what? They just confirm. They just say, yep, let's buy. Third thing is value stacking. Now, value stacking is the idea of basically stacking how much value that you're giving them and telling them the value of it. So not the price that you're charging, but the value. You basically tell them how much it's worth. And after that, you tell them how much it costs. So you show them that there's a massive gap in between what you're charging and what it's worth, like thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, if not tens of thousands of dollars for some people. And you show them that you're doing this much for just this little amount compared to how much it looks like. That's just also another psychological thing. When humans see like a massive number, it's called like anchoring. When they see a massive number, it's like $10,000. They just say, get out of here. Like, I'm not buying that. You know what I mean? They're right away. And they're like, whoa. But then if you show them, okay, $10,000 is what it's worth. And then you go to the next slide, or you tell them, that's what it's worth. We only charge $1,000. then automatically they see $1,000 as just this puny little number in comparison to the $10,000. It's the reason that a lot of stores will have like 3 different cup sizes for like a drink. The medium, hardly anyone gets the medium. They only get the large and the small, because they think about it like this, they anchor it. They're like, okay, well the medium's this much, the large is basically only $1 more, or the medium's this much, the small is this much less, and they just think about it by comparison. So if you compare prices, I know it's an example in the opposite sense, but if you compare prices and you show the difference between them, so if the difference is really small between prices, they'll go with the most expensive option, and if the difference is huge, they'll go with the cheapest option. So just think about that and then use that in your own way. That's some sales knowledge. I have like a massive notes thing on my phone that just like I collect all this information. I look when I read through books, and like when I watch like videos or whatever, I'm just saying, okay, that's a good nugget of information. I write it down and then I just like think about it, and I consciously kind of remember it for my next sales call or whatever I'm doing. This is the one job that I think is like still like kind of independent in its own way, because you're selling and they rely on you to sell. So even if you're a salesman working for somebody, you're still selling for them, right? But without you, they wouldn't be able to sell. So think about it that way. You still become so vital. But the best thing about this as well is that essentially a salesman can be an entrepreneur. You always have the option of just becoming an entrepreneur. Being an entrepreneur is just using your ability to sell and then making whatever product you want and selling it, whatever service you want and selling it. Because you could do anything. You could do any product, any service. If you get good at selling, you could sell anything, dude. You could sell, water to someone in an ocean. That sounds kind of stupid. There's a lot of things you could do. That's just my 2 cents. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and subscribe at your own will. And I'll see you guys in the next video. We're pumping them out, and we're about to hit 1K, and it's the road to success. All right, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out. Goodbye.